I got an email from a subscriber the other day, and I'll just read it for you. He asked a good question. He says, "Hi Jack, got a question. How do I know if I'm correctly activating my fascia strength when doing your exercises? I love your concept, but not sure if I'm doing it right. John from California." So John asked a great question, and I'm going to answer his question by showing you an exercise that takes about 1 minute that is going to do two things for you. It's going to, one, let you know, give you a tangible feeling so you can determine if you're correctly activating fascia strength. And secondly, as you do the exercises, you're strengthening your whole body. So it's a strengthening exercise that strengthens your fascia, but also tells you if you're correctly activating fascia strength, not just doing normal old muscle strength that everyone does, okay? So this exercise works like this. I'm going to take a bar, a fairly light bar, and I'm going to hold it in a halfway bicep curl position. And I'm going to hold it for 1 minute. And as I'm holding it for 1 minute, I'm going to transfer the force from my muscles as much as I can, the muscles in my arms and my upper body, and I'm going to try to transfer the force of the bar to my stretched fascia wetsuit, okay? And I'll explain this a little better as I'm doing the exercise. But if I transfer muscle contraction from holding the bar to relax the muscles and put it on the fascia wetsuit, and I hold that for a minute, when I put the bar down, I'm going to go ahead and put the bar down, I'll have my arms to my side, and I'll real lightly start to do an arm curl. And right away, my arms are just going to take off and they're going to float up. I call it the float. It's a goofy thing. It's like they levitate on their own, and then they just stay there in this floated position. It's really weird at first. It's not a magic trick or anything like that. The reason the arms float up after that exercise is because when I was stressing the fascia wetsuit with a load, it stored energy. So when I put the bar down, that energy was released, and I just, whoop, my arms float right up. All right? So I'm going to grab a bar. Actually, I got 2 bars here, so it's a little heavier. This is 25 pounds. All right? And get a weight that's not too heavy, but not too light. By the end of the minute, you want to feel like your arms are getting a little tired, but you can still do the minute with no problem, okay? So don't think heavy weight here. If you go too heavy, you'll just run into your muscle tension and you won't be able to activate the fascia strength. So I got 25 pounds here, and I'm going to hold it in this halfway position, as you can see right there, okay? And as I hold it, I'm going to stretch the fascia wetsuit. I'm going to go ahead and suspend my head. Think of putting my crown of my head to the sky, to the ceiling, and I'm going to relax my shoulders and the rest of my body down to my feet, okay? So the head's suspending, but I'm relaxing my shoulders and everything down. Now as I feel this bar in my hands, the bar, I can feel the weight coming into my upper body and dropping onto my rib cage. I don't want my shoulders floating. If my shoulders are float, I won't be able to activate fascia strength. So bring those shoulders down and let them rest against the rib cage. So I feel the bar onto the rib cage, but then the rib cage, go ahead and let that mass go to your feet. So I actually feel the bar in my feet right now. Where if I was just doing typical muscle strength, contracting my upper body, I wouldn't feel my feet as much because my mass would catch in my upper body with the contracted muscles. So I got my suspended head, shoulders are down, I'm holding this bar. Now I'm going to go ahead and my sidelines from my chest to my back, I'm going to go ahead and make that a little wider. All right? So my upper body is wide from side to side, a little stretch. My head is suspended, and my shoulders are down onto my rib cage, and I'm sending that mass into my feet, okay? So it looks just like this. Now I'm thinking of opening my joints. I don't want to contract the muscles, so I think of lengthening everything. Think of lengthening everything, my spine, my elbow joints, everything gets lengthened, getting taller because my head's suspended, but the other end, my tailbone is dropping down, so I got that opposing force. And I'm just holding this here with my fascia wetsuit, trying to transfer the force from my upper body strength to the stretch of my fascia wetsuit. Now the other thing I can do as I'm holding this is I can kind of move my shoulders a little bit and my hips, just little movements to let me know that I'm not tightening up with muscle contraction. Just like that. So this has been a minute or so. I'm going to put the bar down, put my arms to my side, and I'm just going to gently start to go up, and there's the float, and they're just floating up. So right now, my arms are floating, and it's goofy. I know it sounds goofy. It feels goofy to even say it, but right now my arms are floating, and they're just holding themselves up. It's like I don't have to hold them up with effort. And that's because I correctly stretched the fascia wetsuit. Okay? Now, you know, I've been doing this quite a while, so this float will stay for like at least a minute, maybe up to 2 minutes sometimes, where all of a sudden it'll take, you know, a minute or two for that energy to release out of the fascia, and then my arms will start to drop with gravity. Okay? So they're still holding up. I can encourage them to stay up longer if I think of gently just stretching the fascia wetsuit, suspend the head, drop the tailbone a little bit, maybe take an inhale, blow up the body a little bit. It stretches the fascia wetsuit. Stay relaxed. The muscles are relaxed. All right. They're still holding up there. Now, if I try this with 10 people, and I've done this quite a bit with new people, about half of them will get it the first time. They'll get, and I'm going to go ahead and stop. My arms are still floating, but I'm going to stop. They'll put the curl bar down, and they'll start to go up, and then they'll feel the float, and it might hold for 5 seconds, and then gravity will take over. Okay? So mine, I can hold the float a lot longer because I'm trained at this. So as you get better at this exercise, you will hold the float better. That means you're better at activating fascia strength. Okay, so it's a good barometer, a good test to see if you're doing it correctly. Now, if you don't get the float the first time, keep trying. Just play with it. Be playful with it. Don't take it too serious. You just got to tune the fascia just right by suspending the head, dropping the tailbone, holding that curl bar with a relaxed feel, putting the weight of the bar onto your feet and not contracting the muscles. One day you'll surprise yourself and all of a sudden that float will be there. Okay? So keep in mind that this fascia strength is very significant and different than muscle strength. Muscle strength is that raw force. I kind of call it stupid strength because it's just raw strength. Fascia strength is, I call it smart strength because it is the strength that involves agility and cat-like movement at the same time. So it is one of the secret reasons why great martial artists, athletes, the very elite athletes, they have this fascia strength and they don't really know they have it necessarily. They just don't contract their muscles as much as everyone else does, and they rely on the stretch of their fascia wetsuit. So it's a very cool thing to train because it fixes your body, okay, knees, back aches, all kinds of different joint and muscle related injuries. It fixes it as you get stronger. Not only that, it's more of a agility, athletic strength, not just raw strength to push something over, that kind of thing. So if you want to get better at stretching the fascia wetsuit, at developing fascia strength, I want to take it to the next level, click down below and grab my course, Fascia Strength and Power. There I go over in great detail many, many different ways to stretch the fascia wetsuit and get a nice pure stretch so we can develop this fascia strength. And in the course there's also many exercises that I show and teach that will help you develop this so you can get incredibly strong, fix injuries, that sort of thing.